Hi, welcome back to ODE YouTube channel. Today I'm here to show you the day 5 of the Inkvent Calendar by Diamine. So let's just go for it. I'm not spending too much time talking. I will talk a little bit later when I show you the inks now. Just opening each door each day. So let's try to open this. Easy. And this one is called Harmony, and this Harmony for day 5, it is a standard ink and seems to be a purple ink. So purple inks are quite nice, and I'm very interested in seeing how this behaves and how it compares with some other purple inks in my Swatch collection. So I'll be right back, and I'll be hitting the tripod as usual. So I'll be right back. And so let's see how this ink Harmony looks like on Swatch. So first open the knife, the little pipette, and we can see that it is a standard ink. So I think this is going to be quite simple. I don't need to worry about shaking the bottle a lot. So let's try to take out 3 drops, because 3 drops are enough. This last one was really small. Okay. Pipette aside, let me just cap the bottle to avoid very stupid accidents, and let's see how this looks like. By the drops, they just look black, but now let's see. Okay, it is it is fairly accurately shown here, I would say, but I thought it would be more like a pink instead of such it's hard to say, such a muted purple or violet. I don't really know the difference, and it looks that it may have lots of shade and maybe a pastel like color. So you can see, we can really see that there is a difference from the less saturated to the more saturated. So we will wait these to dry, and I'll be right back to show you the rest of this full review. And so here we have the Harmony bottle. The standard ink, it is purple, as we can see, as we saw in the swatch, but now let's see the swatch already dry. And as you may see, it is again a dusty color, kind of a dusty purple or violet. I don't really know the difference between purple and violet. So I have some other ink swatches for comparison as usual, and so I have some other inks that you may know. One is Kaveco Summer Purple, and although they have the same kind of color, the Kaveco Summer Purple is much vivid, much brighter. Then I also have the Diamine Violet, the regular color, and you may see that the Diamine Violet is a much bluer ink. Then I have the Noodler's Brexit, which is similar in terms of that dusty quality, but it reminds us more that color of the Diamine Violet. And finally, I have here the Inkvent Calendar 2019 number 24, the Purple Bow, which is an ink with sheen, and it may be kind of similar, but it is also more on the bluish side. So I don't really have a similar color to this one. The best way I can describe it is that it is a very dusty purple. Now let's go for the color, the swatch, the chromatography. And here it is, and in the chromatography we can see that there is no water resistance. You can see a very faint line there, but not visible really, and there you see magenta and blue. Now for this review, the pens that I chose are Diplomat Pop, how is this called? Diplomat Pop 505A in lilac, which is an interesting older pen with this style of semi-hooded nib, and which is a pen that's fun, just to show you. It takes some cartridges that are no longer made, but they also can take cross cartridges. So I refilled a cross cartridge and the pen is ready to write. Another pen that I chose for this is a pen that I usually have inked with purple ink, but another one. This is the Nettuno 1911 Black Sands. It is a pen that I love. It had a problem with the plating on the nib. It almost fell completely. Now there are some places left. It is ugly. I may need to try to remove that few last pieces of coating, but I don't want to really exchange the nibs, although I have one new there as a replacement because this one writes so much better. Okay, but this is an issue that I talked about a lot before. Now let's see how these two pens behave on paper and the ink that is inside. So let's start with the three papers that I usually use: the Moleskine notebook, the Oxford optic paper, and the Navigator. I will put the light a little stronger now. And Navigator copy paper. This swatch is made on in Rhodia pad, and I have there a Rhodia pad also to show you in the end. So I have here the Moleskine paper. This is an ink that's not that saturated, as you can see, and it shows that dusty property there. I put this over the number because this was ripped from an old journal, and you can see that you can still read what is beneath. Both nibs are fine steel nibs, but you can see there are lots of difference. The line is very different from the Nettuno to the Diplomat, or from the Diplomat to the Nettuno. And one thing we can notice easily is that there is lots of feathering with this ink, both with the Diplomat, which is much finer, and also with the Nettuno. So that happens. And also on the other side you can see some bleed through, but we know Moleskine paper sometimes it gets us into some trouble. About the shading, some shading you can see it mostly when writing with Diplomat, which has a finer, less amount of ink, and you can see the shading better, which is strange because usually you can see more shading with better flowing pens. Here you have the Oxford paper. You don't see feathering, but the paper is much better than Moleskine, and you can find shading in both pens, and there you have a hint it dries really slowly. On the other side of the paper there is no bleed through. What you see here is not bleed through, it's just I put this over a piece of paper that was not completely dry. Then you have the Navigator 80 grams per square meter copy paper, and we can see that first with the Diplomat and then with the Nettuno, there is no feathering with this paper. So most of the feathering is a combination of ink and also the paper. Here you can see a little shading, but not much with Diplomat, and you can see much more shading with the Nettuno. And there is bleed through with both pens, more with the Nettuno because it puts more ink on the paper. So this is how the ink behaves. One thing that I may say about this ink is that this one may be my less favorite so far, and because of I don't think it is saturated enough, and to me it shades a little bit too much, and I prefer inks that don't shade much. So this is obviously my opinion, but this is the least exciting ink so far, and I kind of like purple inks. Now let's just see how it performed on the Rhodia paper. You saw before how it did in the swatch there, and you can see that it performs well. This is my kind of mess when I write. You can see the writing time, the drying time. You can see in 40 seconds there with the Diplomat Pop, which has more like an extra fine line, it still smears. So it takes a long time to dry. And when we put drops of water and then after a few minutes we clean it with paper tissue, you can see that the ink is not water resistant at all. It is almost impossible to read what was on that line. So this is what I have to say about this ink. Not that exciting to me in all these properties. The shading is nice if you like shading. For me, it shades between not so vibrant and too light kind of color, so it doesn't appeal to me. Now let's just see how it works with our usual phrase. So the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, and with the Nettuno, the same fox will jump over the same dog, but with a very different feel. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. And I can immediately say, as I am writing, maybe you don't see that as well on camera, but when it has some line variation there, not line variation, it has some shading, it has some problems focusing, sorry. On the lighter shading, it is too light for me. I really don't enjoy inks that are that light on their lighter shading areas. You can see there, it is too transparent. On the darker places, yes, it's fine, but on the lighter ones, I can't really enjoy this ink. And with finer nibs, it is just not dark enough for me. So this is what I had to show you, my least favorite ink of this Inkvent calendar so far, but there are others that are nice. So we will meet again tomorrow. So this is all for today. Bye.